The private room went dead silent. You could have heard a pin drop. It took a long, agonizing moment before Brooke, Valerie's self-appointed best friend, scrambled to break the tension. Nathan, God, Nate, Val is just messing around. Brooke laughed, a shrill, nervous sound. Your joke isn't exactly funny, either. I cut her off. I'm not joking. Valerie shifted. Her posture straightened, and that smug, playful glint in her eyes began to freeze over. Nathan, she said, her voice dropping to a low, warning register. Do you have any idea what you're saying right now? Right on cue. Cameron leaned a fraction closer to Valerie. He had that soft, almost fragile cadence down to a science. Nate, Cameron murmured, his eyes big and earnest. I know you're in a bad mood tonight, but you really shouldn't joke about something like that. If what Val said upset you, I'm so sorry. I apologize on her behalf. As he spoke, the rims of his eyes turned a delicate shade of pink, the perfect picture of the long-suffering victim. Watching his little performance, I actually let out a genuine laugh. I'm not joking, and I'm not in a bad mood. It's just that listening to you two talk about the past reminded me that it's probably time I came clean about a few things, too. Valerie let out a sharp scoff, slamming her cocktail glass down on the glass table. The ice clinked violently. Nathan, if you can't handle the game, just leave. There's no need to say this kind of garbage just to get a rise out of me. Exactly. Cameron chimed in, perfectly synchronized. Whatever happened between Val and me, it's in the past. If it really bothers you, I can explain everything. You don't need to invent some imaginary kid just to throw a tantrum. I met Valerie's stare head on. I'm not throwing a tantrum. I'm not lying. I have a child, a 7-year-old girl. This time, even Brooke's nervous smile vanished. The rest of the friends in the booth, who had been aggressively pretending to look at their phones, snapped their heads up. Their gazes darted back and forth between Valerie and me like they were watching a tennis match. Valerie's face cycled through a spectrum of emotions before settling into a cruel, mocking smirk. 7? Nathan, we've been married for 6 years. Care to tell me where exactly you conjured up a 7-year-old daughter? She was born before the wedding, I said simply. Impossible, she hissed, her jaw tight. I've known you for 8 years. You think you could hide a kid from me? But I saw the flicker in her eyes. The anger was morphing into suspicion, and the suspicion was curdling into something darker, something deeply unsettled. I could practically see the gears turning in her head, frantically scanning the last 8 years for any blind spots, any missing hours. Sensing the shift in the atmosphere, Cameron decided to intervene. Well, Nate, if you really have a kid, why don't you bring her around? He tilted his head, flashing a sweet, innocent smile. We'd love to meet our new little niece. There was a faint, taunting edge to his mouth. He thought he was calling my bluff. There's no need, I said flatly. Why not? Cameron pressed, his tone dripping with fake concern. Is she shy? Or does she not exist? He left the implication hanging in the air. She has no desire to know people like you, I said. Cameron's smile shattered. Valerie stared at me, a violent storm brewing in her dark eyes. She opened her mouth to speak, but for once, the words failed her. Too. Brooke leaped to her feet, practically vibrating with forced cheer. Okay, well, let's keep playing. Come on, guys, it's rare we all get together. Let's not kill the vibe. She grabbed an empty vodka bottle from the table, rolling it between her palms. Next round, nobody be a buzzkill. She spun the bottle. It clattered against the glass table, slowing down until the neck pointed dead center at Cameron. Truth or dare? Brooke asked, breathless. Cameron glanced at Valerie, then shot a hesitant look at me. He bit his lower lip. Dare. Brooke pulled a slip of paper from the bowl. She cleared her throat. Share a chocolate pretzel stick with someone of the opposite sex. You have to eat it until your lips are less than half an inch apart. The booth erupted into immediate, rowdy cheering. Cameron's face flushed to deep, becoming red. He turned to Valerie, his eyes swimming with a perfectly calculated mix of helplessness and quiet anticipation. Valerie, however, was still staring at me, unblinking. I broke eye contact, picked up my glass of club soda, and took a slow sip. 3, maybe 4 seconds ticked by. Then, I heard Valerie let out an irritated, dismissive click of her tongue. A plastic wrapper tore open. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw her place one end of a chocolate-coated stick between her teeth. She turned her body, leaning heavily into Cameron's space. The catcalls and whistles from their friends grew louder. I set my glass down. My eyes traced the shrinking distance between them. Valerie held the biscuit in her mouth, leaning further in. Cameron's face was flushed, his head tilted back slightly, his eyelashes fluttering like a baby bird waiting to be fed. The stick got shorter and shorter. When they reached that final half-inch, Valerie didn't stop. Cameron let out a soft, muffled gasp as her mouth crushed against his. The VIP room went absolutely feral. People were clapping, howling, and Brooke even whipped out her iPhone to start recording. Holy shit, Val is going for it. Look at Cam. He's melting. It's been almost a minute. Damn. I sat there, watching their performance with the detached clinical interest of an outsider. Valerie's hand slid to the back of Cameron's neck, pulling him deeper into her. Cameron melted against her, his fingers bunching the fabric of her silk blouse like it was a life preserver in a stormy sea. 1 minute and 3 seconds. I picked up the highball glass in front of me and stood up. Nobody noticed. All their attention was glued to the center of the booth, where the two of them were completely lost in each other. I stepped around the low table and walked right up to them. Cameron opened his eyes first, his pupils dilated in sheer panic. Before he could even flinch, I threw the entire glass of ice water directly into his face. The freezing liquid splashed over his delicate features, ice cubes bouncing off his cheekbones, water plastering his perfectly styled hair to his forehead. Valerie shoved him away instantly. Water dripped from her chin, a massive dark stain spreading across the front of her expensive silk blouse. The screaming in the booth stopped. Complete, suffocating silence. Cameron curled into Valerie's side, trembling violently. Drops of water clung to his eyelashes. He looked incredibly pathetic. He bit his lip, fat tears rolling down his cheeks, but he didn't dare say a word. Valerie looked up at me. The strange thing was, there was no rage in her eyes. Instead, there was a twisted sense of relief. Valerie, I said, my voice sounding completely steady, almost foreign to my own ears. We're getting a divorce. I turned on my heel and walked toward the door. Nate, wait. Brooke was the first to scramble up, throwing herself off in my path. The rest of the group stood up in a panicked way. Nate, don't do this, Brooke pleaded, holding her arms out. It's just a stupid game. Dallas had too much to drink. Please don't take it seriously. Yeah, come on, man, one of the guys chimed in. We're all friends here. People get a little wild. It's normal. You storming out just makes you look insecure. Exactly. It's just Cam. We've known him forever. It's not like he's a stranger. I looked at Brooke and smiled. I hope when you get married, your husband finds a female friend he can aggressively make out with in public. Brooke froze, the color draining from her face. And the rest of you, I said, sweeping my gaze over the room. I wish you all partners who have a best friend they can just passionately kiss during party games. You deserve exactly what you're defending. The smug expressions in the room evaporated.